Imagine handing your life savings to a man trusted by presidents, by Hollywood celebrities, by thousands of ordinary families who believed they had finally found the secret to wealth. Now imagine waking up one morning and finding out it was all gone. $65 billion vanished. This is the story of Bernie Madoff, the man who ran the largest financial fraud in human history, and the most terrifying part, he almost got away with it. Bernard Lawrence Madoff was born in 1938 in Queens, New York. He didn't come from money. His parents were ordinary people. His father worked in the steel industry. His mother briefly ran an unlicensed brokerage firm, a detail that would prove significant. At 22 years old, Bernie Madoff founded his own investment firm with just $5,000 he had saved from working as a lifeguard and installing sprinkler systems. $5,000. That firm would eventually be worth billions. By the 1980s, Bernie Madoff had become one of the most powerful figures on Wall Street. He helped found the Nasdaq Stock Exchange. He served as its chairman 3 times. He wasn't just a trader. He was an architect of the modern financial system. Banks called him. Hedge funds called him. Foreign governments called him. Because whatever Bernie Madoff touched turned to gold. Or so it seemed. He lived in a Manhattan penthouse worth $7 million. He had a luxury estate in Palm Beach, Florida, a villa in the south of France, a ski chalet in Aspen, Colorado, a yacht he named Bull. He wore tailored suits. He donated generously to charities. He sat on the boards of major hospitals and universities. He was respectable. That was the key word. In a world full of flashy, aggressive brokers, Bernie Madoff was the calm, distinguished gentleman of finance. People didn't just trust him, they begged to give him their money. Here is what nobody knew. Bernie Madoff's entire investment operation was a lie. Every single trade fabricated. While clients believed their money was generating steady, impressive returns year after year, in good markets and bad, in bull runs and crashes, there was no investment strategy. There were no trades. There was only a machine designed to steal. He ran what's called a Ponzi scheme, the oldest fraud in financial history. New investor money pays old investors their returns. There is no actual profit. The scheme only works as long as new money keeps coming in. Bernie Madoff ran his Ponzi scheme for at least 40 years, 4 decades. Some investigators believe it may have started as far back as the 1960s. He operated the fraud from a single locked floor in his office building, the 17th floor of the Lipstick Building in Midtown Manhattan. Most of his employees worked on other floors. They handled his legitimate trading business. The 17th floor was different. A small team of loyal employees worked there, processing fake statements, creating fictional trade records, maintaining the illusion. Clients received beautifully printed monthly statements showing their portfolios growing steadily, 8 to 12% returns per year, every year, without fail. In 2008, when the entire stock market collapsed and ordinary investors lost everything, Madoff's clients still showed profits. That's what made people suspicious. How could anyone make money in that market? One analyst Harry Markopolos had already been screaming the answer for years. Harry Markopolos was a financial analyst who had been hired to replicate Bernie Madoff's investment strategy. He couldn't do it. Not because the strategy was too complex, but because it was mathematically impossible. The numbers didn't exist in the real world. In 2000, he sent a detailed report to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the government agency responsible for protecting investors. The report was called "The World's Largest Hedge Fund is a Fraud." The SEC ignored it. In 2001, again, ignored, again, nothing. 3 times Markopolos presented overwhelming evidence to government regulators. 3 times they did nothing. Bernie Madoff was too respected, too well-connected, too powerful. No one wanted to believe it. The financial crisis of 2008 was the earthquake that destroyed Bernie Madoff's world. When the market collapsed, wealthy clients who had money with Madoff started requesting their money back. Large amounts, urgently. By December of 2008, redemption requests totaled $7 billion. Bernie Madoff had only $300 million left. The scheme was over. On December 10, 2008, Bernie Madoff called his 2 sons, Mark and Andrew, into his apartment. He told them everything. The entire business, the clients, the trades, all of it was a lie. His sons did something that surprised everyone. They called the FBI. The next morning, federal agents arrived at Bernie Madoff's Manhattan penthouse. He opened the door himself. He didn't run. He didn't deny it. He simply said, "There is no innocent explanation." He was arrested on the spot. The news broke within hours. And then the true horror began to emerge. $65 billion, stolen from approximately 37,000 victims across 136 countries. Charities that had entrusted their entire endowments to him, destroyed overnight. Holocaust survivor organizations, cancer research funds, schools. Ordinary retirees who had saved their entire lives wiped out. One investor, René Thierry Magon de la Villouche, was a French aristocrat who had invested not only his own money, but the money of his clients, his family, his friends. 2 weeks after the arrest, he locked his office door and took his own life. He left no note explaining why. Everyone already knew. On June 29, 2009, Bernie Madoff stood before a federal judge. He had pleaded guilty to 11 criminal charges: securities fraud, wire fraud, mail fraud, money laundering, perjury. The maximum sentence under law, 150 years. The judge sentenced him to exactly that, 150 years in federal prison. At 71 years old, everyone understood what this meant. He would die in prison, and he did. On April 14, 2021, Bernie Madoff died in a federal medical center in North Carolina. He was 82 years old. He had served 12 years. The government seized everything: his penthouse, his homes, his yachts, his jewelry, his cars. Ruth Madoff, his wife of nearly 50 years, was forced to give up nearly everything. She was left with just $2.5 million. In the eyes of the victims, even that was too much. But here is where the story takes its darkest turn. Because in a very real sense, Bernie Madoff was never fully punished. The money, most of it, was simply gone. Investigators managed to recover approximately $13 billion for victims, $13 billion out of 65. The rest, spent, hidden, transferred, disappeared. Thousands of families who lost their life savings received only a fraction of what was taken. Some received nothing at all. Here is what the mainstream press never fully explains. Bernie Madoff did not operate in a vacuum. For 40 years, the most sophisticated financial institutions in the world, banks, auditors, regulators, either didn't know or didn't want to know. JP Morgan Chase, one of the largest banks in the world, handled Madoff's primary accounts for years. They filed suspicious activity reports about his transactions. They did not report them to the FBI. They reported them to a British regulator. In 2014, JP Morgan paid a settlement of $2.6 billion. No executives went to prison. The SEC, the agency that exists specifically to catch financial fraud, was warned about Madoff multiple times by multiple sources. They investigated him 8 times over 16 years. 8 times. And every time, they found nothing. Or perhaps more accurately, they chose to find nothing. Because Bernie Madoff was not just a thief, he was part of a system that protects its own. His sons did not escape unscathed. Mark Madoff, his eldest son, could not live with what his father had done. On December 11th, 2010, exactly 2 years to the day after his father's arrest, Mark hanged himself. He was 46 years old. Andrew Madoff, his younger son, died of cancer in 2014. He was 48. Both men maintained until their deaths that they had no knowledge of the fraud. Ruth Madoff lived in isolation, shunned by former friends, living in a modest Connecticut apartment. "I don't know how to describe what it is to live with this," she told an interviewer. The family that had everything, destroyed from within by the man at its center. Bernie Madoff died in prison, but his story raises questions that were never fully answered. How does a fraud of this scale operate for 40 years without detection? Who else knew? Who else benefited? The financial system that allowed Bernie Madoff to operate, that ignored warnings, that cleared his transactions, that awarded him with chairmanships and honors, that system is still running today. Different faces, same architecture. The victims of Bernie Madoff lost more than money. They lost their belief that the system was built to protect them. Perhaps that was the cruelest theft of all. If you found this story disturbing, leave a comment below. And if you want to know who comes next on this list, subscribe, because there are more men like Bernie Madoff, and their stories are even darker. Before you leave, if this story made you feel something, anger, shock, or simply the need to know more, you are not alone. Every week at Luxury Vision Official, we go deeper into the stories that the financial world hopes you will never find. The men behind the crashes, the fortunes built on lies, the systems designed to protect the powerful and destroy everyone else. Luxury Vision Official exists for one reason: